Welcome in, guys. Big Sunday, 6-0 in the NFL. Getting it done with a bunch of dogs. Had the Titans +3, the Raiders +4, Rams +5.5, and a bunch of unders on the totals. Unders in the Rams game, unders in Tennessee, and the unders with Pittsburgh and San Francisco. That's a good way to start week one of the NFL season. Hopefully we can carry that on into the rest of the week. Do have a NFL bet in the Monday Night Football game. If you guys want that, you guys know where to go. Sign up on the app or sign up on the website. You'll get all that insight as well. A couple of MLB bets today as well. We'll dive into some of those really quick. If you haven't yet, like, comment, subscribe below. John, 6-0 Monday, gotta be feeling, or 6-0 Sunday, gotta be feeling pretty good.
I'll flex up a little bit. That's the way you want to start the NFL season. Crushed last week. I mean, not only 6-0 NFL, which is great. We take our units up a little bit in the NFL, but we killed baseball also 65%. Betting dogs, that's going to equate to a lot more money. So a monster week. And here we go. We're ready to go. Let's talk about some football, what we saw, what we thought we'd see, and what we didn't think we'd see. Ben, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, I mean, just going off well, obviously, we can start with Thursday night's game, like you said. So Lions-Chiefs, I mean, obviously there was the issues Kansas City had with Jones and then Kelsey. That adds factors into it. Just horrible receiving going on in the second half there from the Kansas City receivers. Lions, though, I mean, they looked good. The defense was good. It was really that one play in the second half that completely swung the momentum in that game, took them out of it. But Lions look like they're going to be a threat. I mean, the division is theirs to lose. Green Bay looked good yesterday against the Bears, but they own that matchup, and that's just one that they've always owned. So take that with a grain of salt. Minnesota, who we both kind of mentioned we're down on this year heading into it on the season preview, looked like what we thought they were. That Tampa Bay defense, they couldn't do anything with it. The turnovers were just problematic. I mean, Justin Jefferson had a monster game. Kirk Cousins was still up there as far as passing yards on the day, but if you're making crucial mistakes like that, not going to get it done. And their defense couldn't hold down a bad Tampa Bay offense. I mean, the Tampa Bay's defense won that football game. So Lions, I mean, start with there. That division looks like it's theirs to lose right now based off what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that. Look, Goff, I believe it's something like 369 passes without an interception. Take care of the football. Turnovers. That's what it is. And that's what got the Lions that game, that big turnover off the Chiefs receiver's hands. A bad break for KC, the way to start that. Always tough. That first game back, always tough for that Super Bowl team, especially if they're playing a team that didn't get to the playoffs. They've just played so much longer. Chiefs look like the tired team in that second half. Kelsey, not having Kelsey is what showed up. Also, no Jones. You got to put a pass rush on a quarterback that doesn't throw interceptions. Maybe force him into one. Still, I don't feel any different about KC. Think they'll rebound. Kelsey, they feel he should play this week coming up against Jaguars, which will be a really good game. A little playoff revenge for Jaguars from last year. But, yeah, nothing's changed. The Chargers didn't impress me. Herbert wasn't crazy good as we expected. They went actually more with the run game. So I still think it's Chiefs in the AFC West. And, yeah, I think it's the Lions in the NFC Black and Blue division.
Yeah, that Chargers-Miami game, crazy game. You mentioned the rushing yards there, over 200 rushing. And that's part of because of Miami's defense is really bad against the runs game. So, probably a little bit more scheming for that. But Miami in the passing game, I mean, between those two guys, Waddle and Hill, obviously Hill just went absolutely berserk in that game last night. But beyond that, you mix in Waddle. I mean, that passing offense is as good as it gets in the NFL right now. I mean, just as far as weapons you have to go to, added a little bit more depth there as well. Miami looked good. I mean, interested to see Buffalo tonight, how they look against the Jets, but Miami's going to be a real contender in that division. And I thought it was laughable that preseason, division future odds had Jets above Miami, just because we haven't seen the Jets yet in the Rodgers era, whereas we know if Tua's healthy, this is going to be the best passing game maybe in the league. And beyond that, I mean, obviously they have their defensive issues, the ground game issues, but having the best passing offense, that'll take you places.
Look, guys, got to remember back to before Tua got those string of concussions last year. Miami was real. It was only after he came back that they faltered off. They look to be back on pace. Hill looks unstoppable. That Tua to Hill connection. So they'll be up there. Again, me and Ben said this, not as high on the Jets and Rodgers as everybody else. We'll find out more about that tonight. But that division to us was Buffalo, Miami, Jets.
And then obviously what we had going on yesterday was Cincinnati. I mean, Cincinnati last couple of years have had some bad week one, so I wasn't too stunned by that. Like the Browns in the game, another one of those divisional matchup trends. Divisional matchup trends, by the way, yesterday just went pretty much perfect. Cowboys, Browns, everyone else. Raiders. Who else am I forgetting on those divisional trends from yesterday? The Rams again, another one. So divisional trends really took care of business. Green Bay, but as far as that division, I mean, Browns, they've had their issues last couple of years. Watson did not look good at all, but the ground game is still very good. The O-line is as good as it gets, and the defense held down Cincinnati. Cincinnati is going to be looking way different than that. Just the issues they've had. Burrow still didn't look quite 100% coming off the injury. And then you have Baltimore against Houston, same division there. Baltimore had some issues there. I mean, Lamar Jackson, a lot of fumbles, didn't look pretty sloppy, but still, a Texans team is just not going to be competitive this season. And even as bad as Baltimore played, still a 16-point game, double digits, cover the big number. So Texans, they're going to have some gross numbers on them moving forward here in the coming weeks. And already some big numbers heading into week 2. But I don't know if you took anything away from that division, John.
Cincinnati looked as bad as they could look. Burrow with his worst game ever. It showed up the practice time that he missed. It's that practice time, guys. And that's why injuries are so big. Even if they're going to play, if they're missing all week of practice, you see the effects it'll have, especially with a quarterback, wide receivers. There's timing that's got to get nailed down. Anyway, terrible day. This is what going up to Cleveland will do to you when you're a passing team. A little bit of weather, and all of a sudden you got a tough little defense, and that passing game gets stalled, and that's exactly what happened. That was just an absolute blowout. Cincy does not win in Cleveland. They lost their prior 5 trips up there, and they didn't get it done. They're a better team than they look because they looked absolutely horrible. Baltimore, they get a bad break. Dobbins, game 1, he's gone for the year. Stanley, the left tackle, he comes out of the game. So you got a little bit of a hurt in there. Tight end Andrews didn't even play the game. Lamar Jackson coming off the injury, didn't look as good as you want to see him look. You're going to beat the Houston Texans, but that's like me beating up some Girl Scouts. I have not much to say about that.
Yeah, that's going to be a big week 2 matchup. Baltimore at Cincinnati. We'll see who kind of comes together there. Looks a bit better. And then the team that looked the best, San Francisco. I mean, head to toe, top to bottom, defense, offense, you name it. Purdy, what injury, looked flawless. McCaffrey looked as good as he's ever looked. O-line giving them all the time in the world they could do anything with. And the defense, I mean, it was the best defense in football last year. And granted, Pittsburgh's offense is pitiful, but damn, they just head to toe looked like the best team yesterday. I don't think it was close.
Yeah, I mean, that game would have been a shutout if not for a last-minute drive in the first half, aided by a little personal foul. I watched the 2 early games that I watched was San Fran Pitt. And when that got out of hand, I switched over to Tampa Bay Vikings. San Fran looked unstoppable. Pittsburgh they finished last year nice. They looked really good in the exhibition, and none of that transpired over until week 1. If there was a spot for San Fran not to have their best game was week 1. Kittle missing a bunch of time with the groin injury. Bosa, a last-minute holdout, ends the holdout to come back, said they were going to play him 30, 40 plays. He just wreaks havoc when he's on the field. Look, I said it prior. I expect the NFC championship game to be a repeat from last year. Philly 49ers. Yes, they didn't change my mind.
Yeah, not at all. The Eagles, though, I mean, that game was not a good game for them. They had the turnovers heavy early, back-to-back, bunch of mistakes. They go up 16-0 early, and from the rest on, Patriots defense shut them down offensively, and they gave them a good time there. But always, again, another situation. New England with the weather, that's a tough place to play, especially week 1.
And that same scenario, as I said, with Chiefs Detroit. You got a team. Philly goes all the way to the Super Bowl. Patriots, just all that extra rest. It's a different team. You need that time off. Eagles, just in a spot. Once they go up 16-0, they go to cruise a little bit. they hardly covered. I believe it was 2. I'm going to go with 2-7 against the spread, or 2-6-1 against the spread on the road last year. That's why the move was the Patriots. Patriots were actually the side. We stayed off that one to keep our record perfect.
And then this NFC South, I mean, Falcons, they get it done. Bully Carolina, Tampa Bay, plus 500 to win that division. I mean, they have a defense that can get it done. Offensively, obviously, a lot of question marks. But that's a good win for them. Go on the road, get that win. We'll see what they do coming in this week. They're going to get the Bears, who did not look good. I mean, Justin Fields still has the ground game, but what else? I mean, you get some receiving help. Thought that'd help. It didn't. But yeah, Tampa Bay in the South. I mean, that's just an interesting team there. I still think Falcons are the team that comes out of that division, but plus 500 for the Bucs. A lot of value there for what looked like one of the better defenses in week 1.
We had Tennessee yesterday, plus 3 against New Orleans. These two teams basically mirror images of each other. Just good defenses, not going to get it done on offense. So the only thing is New Orleans also without Kamara yesterday. And again, Carr will get better over time. That was his first thought. But New Orleans down there, Tampa Bay looked good. Look, I'm going to give Mayfield a little better credit. Again, his first game. You got 2 capable receivers in Evans and Goodwin on Tampa Bay. Give them a little time. Let's see if they develop a little something. But they looked okay, especially for the first game on the road. And then you got Atlanta, Carolina with the rookie quarterback. We're going to take them out of it for the time being. But I could see either of those 3 teams rising to the top. New Orleans, Tampa Bay, they really get it done on D. Atlanta, Ritter, just a game manager, but did a good job yesterday. But I would, if I've got to pick one of them right now, I think I'm going to go with Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's Tampa Bay. I mean, Baker Mayfield, he gets a lot of hate, but he's never been in a situation to thrive. Even in his Cleveland days, they had some good rosters there, but it was 4 different head coaches.
Never a good quarterback in Cleveland. Like I say, we got to go back to Brand quarterback in Cleveland.
Yeah, but he had 4 different head coaches, 4 different coordinators there. And then goes to Carolina, all kinds of issues. Goes to Rams for a short stint, all kinds of issues. And Cleveland, the most, shambled franchise over the last 20 years. So get them to the playoffs at least. And, this is a situation maybe he can thrive in. So new birth here for him. And then I think we just got to wrap it up, John, a little Sunday night football manslaughter. I mean, Dallas Cowboys 40-zip. Giants, a little bit of hangover from making the playoffs last season. Dallas, I've seen a lot of, obviously a lot of the talk shows, analysts, they're always talking about the Cowboys, America's team. They're always going on rants about this and that. A lot of those guys preseason talking about this is the best the Cowboys have had a chance in the last several years. And, it's usually just typical bullshit. But, last night they looked good. Defense looked good. And Giants did look bad, so I'm not going to give too much credit. But 40-zip opening night, it's impressive. Yeah,
well, no matter how bad the Giants look, they hung 40 on them, so they looked good. And 2 games, I'm really kicking myself in the ass. 2 of the other trends, we look, we're big on trends. So we bet 2 of the trends. Rams over Seattle, outright. Raiders over Denver, outright. The other 2 trends, as Ben was talked about, Packers, I mean, look, they've owned the Bears, but they've owned them with Rodgers there. How was Love going to fit into that spot? Everybody had Bears overrated. Bears is still the Bears. They're improved a little bit from last year, but they were horrible last year, so there's only one way to go but up. Obviously, Green Bay's not what they were, but they didn't go that far down. Kicking myself in the ass, should have been on Green Bay, should have been on Dallas. I said it like Giants were a fraud last year. Their schedule got them into the playoffs, and then as we saw Minnesota's just not a good team. So they went to Minnesota and beat Minnesota. We see Minnesota yesterday lose again at home to Tampa Bay. But Dallas had absolutely owned the series. Was a little worried about the Dallas offensive line situation with the 2 Smiths. That meant nothing. Dallas just absolutely blew them out. So 6-0 day should have been 8-0. So I am taking that away. I should have been on those 2. The trend is your friend, guys. Remember that it carries a lot of week. Certain teams, it's just the way they match up comes true.
And we have a nice little Monday night football game going on tonight. We have the Bills at the Jets. Going to see the Rodgers debut there for the Jets. We'll see how that fares. This is a Bills team, obviously the favorite preseason to win the division. Jets, they were plus 290, which was second. The Dolphins were plus 300 the other day. And then now after yesterday's performance, they're all the way back down to plus 210, the second in the division to win this thing. Bills, what are we going to get out of them after all their issues last season? Injuries, topped off by the DeMar Hamlin situation. Then they just get embarrassed a little bit by Cincinnati in the playoffs. Then you have the Jets team. What are we going to get out of them? Breece Hall, he has his injury issues. You bring in Hackett's the OC, obviously to pair along with Rodgers. You get a little bit of weapon help with Hartman and Lazard. Some familiarities there for Rodgers, who's had some bad week ones last couple of seasons with Green Bay. Obviously a new team here. It's going to be difficult. We've seen that trend a little bit with some of the quarterbacks here. New teams, not always the best, but some got out and got it done yesterday. Garoppolo goes and gets a win there for the Raiders. Baker Mayfield, new team, gets a win there. Saints and Derek Carr gets a win there. Some tight games, but they pull out the win. Some of the new quarterbacks. Not high on this Jets team, and I think this is just one of those situations you're getting a lot of value in the number to Buffalo just because, there's all this public notoriety, public hype around the Jets, which I don't see it. I think it's going to be very similar to what we have here, like you mentioned with the Bears, where it's still going to be the Jets. I think they'll be better, but not good enough in that division, not close to Buffalo or Miami's level.
Well, look, this is all about Buffalo. Buffalo last year, they started off the year with a 31-10 blowout at the previous Super Bowl champs, the Rams. They started the season as I had them as the best team in football in my power rating. And they showed it going 5-1 through the first 6 weeks, culminating with the big revenge game against the Chiefs in Kansas City. Problem was they had a bye week after that. I think that they thought the season was over, that all they had to do was beat Kansas City. They never got back to where they were. They come out of the bye, they beat the Packers in a Sunday night game, and then go and lose the next 2 games. One happening to be at the Jets, and then follow that up with an overtime loss against Minnesota. Now, Allen had some arm issues. He had some problems. They really trying to keep that under wraps. If he's healthy, the Bills still have one of the best rosters in football. Mm-hmm. Let's see what team comes out. Again, like I said, week 1 last year, an absolute blowout in the Thursday night game to kick off the season at the Rams. I would expect them to come with their good game. I'm not expecting a shootout. Everybody might be thinking Allen, Rodgers shootout today. I don't see it that way. Jets at the end of the year. Now, obviously, this had a lot to do with they didn't have a quarterback, but all low-scoring games. The twice that they met last year, both of those games went under. I'd be on the under, if anything.
Yeah, definitely a little bit under. And that's kind of what the trend has been for the week as well. 11-4 in the first 15 games so far to the under, very under trending. If you look at the totals already for week 2, a lot of them have already dropped big time because of that. We're going to be interested. There's going to be a few spots. Maybe they over adjust to the under on some of those lines looking into week 2. But yeah, that's the Monday Night Football game. Like we said at the start, there is a bet on that for you guys, for our members. If you guys want to go get that, sign up on the app or sign up on the How to Beat the Bookie website. John, we can talk a little bit of baseball going on today. As obviously all the talk right now is NFL as this gets underway, but baseball has been it's been treating us well. Also, we had, 11-6 week last week. A lot of dogs, as always, in there. Some big-time dogs. Oakland plus 215, I believe, was the biggest one. Yep. And we have a pretty good card coming up today. It's doubleheader here with the Braves and the Phillies to get us started. Morton versus Walker. We have a little NLDS rematch from last year. Morton last time out, 2 runs, 4 innings versus the Dodgers, 3 Ks, 3 walks. Take it with a grain of salt because the Dodgers, before that, was lights out, 4-0, .38 in 4 starts. And Walker, Phillies, 13-2 his last 15 starts. Last 2, not the best, 7 runs and 10 2/3. Still pulled those out, though, and much better at home this year, 7-2, 3.26 ERA. Phillies, home dog, division battle, potential playoff rematch we're going to see in a month from now. This would be Phillies or nothing.
Yeah, home dog or nobody. I mean, Walker, not great stats, although they're very good at home, 7-2, 3.26. They just win with him on the mound. Tied for 3rd in wins in Major League Baseball. And I'll throw these stats at you. Phillies are 13-2 his last 15 starts, 11-2 his last 13 home starts. Real Muto out of the game out of game 1 for Phillies. Murphy won't be catching game 1 for Atlanta. Just a big number. Both teams have struggled a little bit against the opposition. I would say a little more so. 0-1, 5-4-7, and 5 starts versus Phillies last year. Have to be Philly in 0-1 in game 1.
And just so you guys know, not going to be going over every MLB game today. So if you guys want all the reads, all the insights, make sure you guys sign up on the app or website. We can go into another pretty good divisional battle here. Padres at Dodgers. Padres coming off losing 2 of 3 at Houston. Now 2-9 their last 11 road games. Dodgers, they were red hot. Slow down a little bit on the trip. They go 3-3 on the trip. And obviously one of the best home teams in baseball and have dominated this matchup. 8 of 10 meetings this year. And for these two teams, I mean, what they have on the roster, this is a disgusting pitching matchup of Vila versus Stone. Vila is coming off a quality start versus the Phillies, but 1K, 6 walks. Prior to that was roughed up for 11 runs and 2 starts. And Stone, only 5 career outings, 3 starts. Last time out, 4 runs, 3 homers, 6 innings. Slightly into the Padres here. They don't have much to play for anymore at this point in the season. Maybe they get up for the division rival. Hard to make the Dodgers this big of a price with Stone. Granted, with a Vila and a 2-9 Padres last 11 road games, it's a bit more reasonable. San Diego are nothing here, but for what's available, this is a pretty gross pitching matchup.
Well, I think Machado might be questionable. He didn't play. They sat Machado on Tatis. I think Tatis was a scheduled day off, but Machado's been hurting a little bit. With nothing to play for, you got to be careful. They don't rest him again, so he's going to be questionable again. As Ben said, terrible pitching matchup. Dodgers just own them. I mean, outside of playoffs, Padres go and beat them in the playoffs last year, but Dodgers have won 8 of 10 meetings this year, and they're 22-7 over the last 2 years straight up against the Padres.
Then we have a nice little wild card battle a little bit we can go to here. Rangers at Toronto. Rangers currently in that 4th spot, half game back of Seattle. They're 1.5 game back of the Blue Jays. Rangers, they took 2 of 3 meetings earlier this year. In June, Jays, they've won 4 of the last 6, 4-6 last year, 2 of 3 in Toronto. Dunning versus Bassett. Texas is ice cold right now. Texas 6-16 last 22, tough to back. They did take 2 of 3 from Oakland. And the Jays, the complete opposite, 8-2 their last 10, red hot, hitting 294. Bassett gets a clear as day pitching edge. Last 2 starts, 1 run in 16 innings, 10 Ks, 1 walk. Meanwhile, the Rangers have lost Dunning's last 5 starts, and last 3 is an over 10 ERA. Pitching edge, hot versus cold. I see the reason maybe looking at, Texas playing from behind the wild card spot, but they're just a falling knife. I want no part of it. Toronto or nothing.
Yeah, sharps are on Texas right now. Line open, you could have took 133 on the overnight. You're down to around plus 120 now. I don't see it. I don't see no value in it. As Ben said, this is a Texas team. Just finished up their 9-game homestand, 3-6, scoring 4.33 runs a game. 2 of those wins come against the worst or the second worst, or what I want to call them, Oakland A's. So not impressed that they won their last 2 games. By the same token, though, Toronto on a little winning streak. Toronto now, they swept KC. They're 8-2 their last 10, but their last 3 series have been at Oakland, at Colorado, and against KC. So I don't want to read into too much of that either. But as Ben said, also, Bassett, clear pitching edge. Just don't want to get behind a Texas team. 2 of their big bats, their biggest bat, Garcia, leads the team in homers, RBIs, and the kid Jung, both still out. Texas is in a tough way. Here's a team we were expecting Houston to take them over, not thinking that right now they're sitting on the outside part of the playoffs. They trail Seattle by a half a game for the final spot and Toronto by a game and a half.
The best pitching matchup on the card, Rays at Minnesota, Glasnow versus Sonny Gray. A couple of guys going great right now. Glasnow since the middle of July, 6-2, 2.33 ERA. Last coming off a quality start, 6 innings, 1 run, 14 Ks, 1 walk versus Boston. Filthy stuff. And Gray, 6 of his last 7 starts, quality starts. Last 2 versus Cleveland, 3 runs in 13 innings. Slight home dog here in a pitching battle. This has got to be a lean to the Twins here. They won 4-6 meetings last year, 2 of 3 in Minnesota. Paredes questionable here for Tampa Bay, and Minnesota mainly getting it done at home this season. It could be a playoff preview, slight lean here to the Twins. I mean, the pitching edge there, you could argue either side. I'm just going to take the plus money, which should be a pitching battle.
Yeah, sharps are on the short here also. This game opened, you could have took plus 120 last night. Right now, you're down to about even on the game. Um, the numbers say the Twins. Twins are just in too much of a comfortable spot. Now a 7.5 game lead over Cleveland. Cleveland's done. Twins are going nowhere. They're going to finish with the worst record of any division leader. So they're in no man's land. 3 games behind the Orioles for the AL East and for best record in the East. So if you don't get best record, you're the wild card team. So they still have really something to play for. Many just not as much to play for. When that's the situation, you got a great pitching matchup. Are you going to press Gray deep into the game? No, you're going to get him to his 85, 90 so pitches. Just start getting these guys to a right spot. So I don't make Tampa Bay a bet, but where I would have taken Twins by the number, just because of that, I'll stay off the game.
And then we'll head to this last game here on the card. Guardians at the Giants. It's an interesting pitching matchup. You have Williams and Cobb both dealing with some issues going on injury-wise. Williams in his prior start had a knee issue, left after 1 inning versus the Twins, and comes back 5 innings, 1 run, 4 Ks, 4 walks. Cobb, he has the game where he tries to go for the no-hitter, gives it up with 2 outs in the 9th, leaves a little bit of back issues next time out. Again, that start, give up 4 runs in 3 innings. Then they give him some extended rest here to come back around. We'll see if that helps him out. Lorenzen, who's going in the second game of the doubleheader for the Phillies today, we've seen him. He has not bounced back yet from the no-hitter. We'll see what happens with Cobb. I mean, obviously, once you go those extra pitches, you have the injury, the back issues. How much is that going to carry over? So 2 pitchers dealing with a little bit of injuries in this one. I'm going to be interested a little bit in the in the road dog here with Williams. We'll have to see what Cobb looks like. If he's anything like Lorenzen's been going, could be a nice little pitching edge there for Williams. Interested to hear your thoughts on that because we haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, the Guardians are a dead team as I just took. That's my reasoning for not pulling the trigger on the Twins. Guardians now just dropped 3 of 4 at the Ohtani list. Angels, Ohtani list, Trout list, Urshela list. Their list goes on and on. They scored 2.75 runs per game. They've dropped 6 of 8. Their season is over. San Fran, they got their chicken soup. They had lost 6 straight. In comes Colorado, the team that they've beaten 16 out of the last 17 times. They sweep those 3 games, scoring 24 runs. 3 games last year at Cleveland. San Fran sweeps the 3 of them, combined 16-4. I got no interest at all in Cleveland. San Fran and Cobb. Cobb may still have some issues coming off that close to a no-hitter, but want nothing to do with Cleveland. This is a dead team.
We're going to settle it there, guys, for the MLB card. Still a good amount of games there we didn't go over. Obviously, a lot going on this Monday card. Mondays are a big day getting ahead for the week as far as football is concerned. Lines start moving. Everything comes out. So I'm going to be on top of that today. 3 bets out for how to beat the bookie members. 2 on the MLB slate, 1 in the Monday Night Football game. Could be adding more, of course, as lines move and everything else. If you guys want those bets, good day to sign up. And even if you're not looking just for the Monday night game, but NFL Week 2 after the big 6-0 Sunday, bets will start coming out for next week, these next couple of days here. I believe of the 6 bets, 4 of them were already out by Thursday last week. So if you guys want those bets early on, make sure you sign up, become a VIP member so you can get these Week 2 reads early as well.
And that's what you want to do. We will have the preview for Thursday night's NFL game on tonight after halftime of the Monday night game. So you want to get that as early as possible, guys. That's all the benefits being how to beat the bookie member. And that's it. We're couldn't ask for a better start to the NFL season. We're going to finish this MLB strong as we did last year and just keep right on trucking. And in October, NBA. And as I told you guys before, if you live in a state that you could bet DraftKings and you're not a how to beat the bookie member and you just don't like money, because we are going to destroy the number literally day in and day out of the season.
Make sure you guys go check out the website, download the app. If you haven't yet, like, comment, subscribe below. Let's make some money.
Make some money.